It's been a while. I know. Hello, all. Just trying to see what everybody else is up to.
No, that's not the cops.
What?
That's a fire truck.
Oh,
All the cops are. Oh shit. Oh shit. Someone died.
so
That's a whole fire truck.
so I'm live.
Well, they can hear it too.
Just so you know.
What
And
are the cops doing here? Oh shit. Old lady Lucy died.
so my roommate has just informed me that I mistook those red and blue lights outside for cops when in fact they are firefighters because something's always going down in my apartment complex. Mind you, none of this shit has anything to do with me, one of two black people. I just want to point that out. Yeah, so it's going down outside, but it's none of my business. What do you think about Humpty Dumpty? I think it's kind of funny that the nursery rhyme never mentioned an egg. So who was Humpty this whole time? Has your husband been saved? Saved from what? Should I know something? You know something I don't? What happened? Did he call you? Is he running for his life from something? Yabba dabba doo. Okay. He had a great fall. Yeah, but it never said that he was an egg. So who was Humpty Dumpty? And like I'm just saying. Hi, I'm from New England. Well, hello. I'm from Baltimore City, Maryland, and I currently live in Oregon. Culture shock be like that. So, a lot of things have. You're thinking too much into it. LOL, he's an egg. Leave him alone. But where in the nursery rhyme did it specify that it was an egg? Nowhere. You just assumed. But, anyways, a lot has happened since I've been gone. And here's one of the things that have been happening. Um, I finally got my protection necklaces from my fiance. My fiance is actually a priest, and he's living in Nigeria. He's Yoruban. Yeah. Life's kind of interesting that way. So, all nursery rhymes are dark as fuck. Yes! Oh my god! Okay, so one of the biggest reasons actually that I got the African American folktale read aloud stories was because I originally had the fairy tale book or whatever that's more European. And I remember reading to my son one night because he's like super interested in bedtime stories. Um There was a lot of like, okay, so it was the story of Bluebeard. Oddly enough, not a pirate. I thought it was about a pirate. It's not. It's just about some guy who has an abnormal blue beard, and he had a history of basically killing his spouses. And then he married a woman and told her, "Look, don't look in the the locked room while I'm gone." So then he goes on a trip. She looks in the room, obviously. And then there's like the corpses of his previous spouses. And I'm like, is this supposed to be a bedtime story? I now regret reading this story to my 4-year old. Cause what message am I trying to send him exactly? So now I'm committed because I'm like, please God, let there be a happy ending so that I can try to further explain it to my son later. And so here's how the ending went is that she is moments away from getting capped by her own husband Bluebeard, right? This chick. So she she calls her brothers. Her brothers come just in the nick of time and they all murk him. And that was the happily ever after is that Bluebeard didn't kill the woman this time. The woman got him killed. And it's like, I thought this was supposed to be a fairy tale for children. What was I mean, if you have marital problems, I feel like you can solve them without ending up on the first 48. Um I swear, like these lifetime television TV shows like Snapped, like come on, like Investigation Discovery, we didn't have to go that far. Um So that's why I got the African American folk tales because none of that shit is going down. Okay, it's a lot safer, safer to read to my child. But yeah, it was a very awkward story, and I have not picked. And the fact that the fairy tale book was pink, so you thought that it was safe because it was pink. I was so wrong. I was so very wrong. I got that book from Barnes and Nobles too. Yeah. But anyways, um when I was talking to my fiance, he told me that there are uh, Yoruban children's stories, and so I need to get my hands on that book as well because I'd like to learn more. Damn, consumerism fooled you. Yes, though, because when I was growing up, I vaguely remember having fairy tale stories all in this one book, and you got to look at what country of origin they were from. And the fact that I wanted to instill just some, like, expand your mind a little bit outside of America, because America is not the rest of the world. But man, did that backfire. If you were born in America, you are American, not African American. I mean, thanks, random person who isn't black that is trying to dictate to me what I should and shouldn't identify as. That's kind of weird, bro.
In the immortal words of Angela Davis, silence, white man!
Do you have a husband, any fiance? Well, I have a fiance. His name is Fabuyere. He is Yoruban specifically. Because I feel like, considering all of the ethnic groups that exist in Africa, it's weird to just say, oh, he's Nigerian because there's like, is he Fulani? Is he Husa? Is he Igbo? Like, there's a lot. So they all speak different languages and shit. So he's Yoruban. And I met him like a year and a half ago. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I'm excited because he's going to come and visit me this spring. So, yay. But in the meantime, this is what he sent me. This is my protection necklace. Because, like I said, he's a priest, but not the kind that you think. He's not a Christian priest. He's actually an Ifa priest. And Ifa is a very old form of spirituality um, that was originally practiced in Nigeria, but according to him, people from around the world practice this faith. He also sent me this necklace. This is my Oya necklace. Oya is one of the Orishas. Um, and then this is my Oshun necklace as well. Yeah. What? I'm sorry. I must have me mixed up with somebody else. I thought you had a white horse pike. What the hell is that? I met a white husband. No. What would make you believe I had a white husband? No. Has he been to Oregon before? Honestly, no. And I've been trying to explain to him the climate out here. I said, listen, when you come here, I just want you to know, you will be the most Afrocentric person here. That's how white it is. You will not find any traditional African dishes when you come out here, just so you know. I really tried to lay it out for him. Uh, yeah, I wasn't trying to hold nothing back. But I said, yeah, we can still have a good time. So we can do this. But yeah, culture shock. That's a thing that happens. But I'm super excited. You know why? Because I honestly thought that if you're a priest, like you're supposed to be stoic and serious. No, he is goofy as shit. And that helps because I need I need somebody with personality. So that helps. So, yay! Yeah, probably best not to visit during the winter. Exactly. So I was kind of. Here's the thing, though. Um, here's aside from wanting to obviously visit me, he said that he was looking forward to um, being able to host a seminar where he talks about IFA because this is what he does for a living, and you have to get certified to do this stuff in Africa. You know, there's documentation to this shit. So he wanted to do this educational seminar where anybody can learn about IFA. And I said, sure, that sounds like something that's right up my alley in terms of educating white people that don't interact with people from traditional African cultures like that. So it would be kind of nice for someone that's been born into this faith to talk about it and to also talk about cultural appropriation. Because here's what I'm saying. So I remember going on Etsy and I saw some necklaces that were similar to the ones that I'm wearing and this bracelet that I have on Etsy. And he says that these are not legitimate because any person can just make these necklaces, sell them, and say that they're for protection or something like that without actually doing the proper rituals in order to get it done. So, with that being said, this is this would be an excellent opportunity for people of African descent and indigenous people to come together and hold this seminar where they talk about how cultural appropriation affects their culture. And I'm like, I would be so ecstatic if I could put something like that together because colonizing it transforms over time. So I can't think of anything worse than taking someone else's culture, someone else's beliefs, where if they practice it, they're seen as demonic. But if you mass market it, then it's seen as cool and trendy. Like this is literally the best time to have a talk like that. So that's what I've been working on uh, since my Immediate absence. Protection against what? Well, protection from negative energy, because honestly, that shit is real. Negative energy, it just, you ever just meet a person and they just suck the life out of you? I've met a few people like that. Protect you from shit like that. Exactly. It is so cool. And I was like, I don't know how to put this shit together, but I'm going to try. And so, um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to a few indigenous folks that live out here in Southern Oregon, um, and see what they have to say, if they would be willing to participate in something like this, if they really want to, spread the word about how to appreciate their culture, not appropriate it, especially if people want to um, buy things directly from them. This would be the perfect opportunity to say, hey, if you want legitimate items from, this particular faith, this particular community, well, these are the people that you can, get it from. So, yay. Okay. What exactly is your culture where you put a mirror outside your front door to do the same thing? It's the first time I'm hearing of it. What is that? And of course, I'm referring to Phyllis. I mean, if that's, a real thing, that'd be interesting to look into. Unless, of course, you're just trolling, then I don't appreciate it. But so here's the one thing that I do want to point out. Um, when I was looking on Etsy, hold on. So when I was looking on Etsy and I saw this bracelet, it said that this bracelet too was supposed to be for protection as well. However, when my fiance explained it to me, he said that this bracelet is supposed to signify that you are um, soon to be or already married to a babalawo, and a babalawo is the Yoruba term for priest or practitioner of Ifa, more specifically. Well, what culture practices this? I don't know. It's just the way you explained it, it kind of seemed like it was just for, see how ugly you are. Look in the mirror and look at yourself. Like that's what it came off as. My bad, but that's how I understood it. I could be wrong. But these are my aspirations for the future. These are my future plans. Trying to educate people on beliefs outside of Abrahamic faiths, because I'm Irish. Really? Irish people do that? Okay. Oh, I would have asked my roommate, but I don't know where he scattered off to. Well, duh, it counts as a culture. It's Irish culture. I don't. So there's this person on my live that says that to ward off like negative energy, Irish people put mirrors outside of their doors. Like I was legitimately asking because they that in Irish culture they put mirrors outside of their doors to ward off negative energy or negative people. That is a thing. Okay, thank God. Because I honestly thought that person was trolling. Because I have gotten a lot of trolls in my live stream, so that actually brings me joy that that's a real thing. Okay, awesome. Okay, Here we go. Educating as in just being racist to white people and thinking everyone can't be racist. Yeah, okay. What? I swear, I could be talking about being excited to visit to get a visit from my fiance, talking about uh unwhitewashing spiritual beliefs outside of Christianity. And the first thing a hurt white person will do is say, this is racist. How is it racist? This is what anti racism is supposed to be when you are correctly giving information about spiritual faiths that have nothing to do with Christianity, or cultures that exist outside of whiteness. That's okay. I have heard that never take a gift from a fae or invite them inside. I've heard about
Never
that.
do that.
Never do that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Do you even have any white friends? I have a white friend. D- did I make the cut for not being racist in the eyes of white people? I mean, I don't care about your opinion of what is and what isn't racist because no one asked you. But I do have a white best friend who, well, makes fun of other white people. He goes on his live stream and he makes fun of white people that are absolutely racist. Just microaggressive towards people that aren't Christian. Like it's mostly white Christians that he makes fun of. Oh, my personal favorite is when he makes fun of Brodenists because he is a Norse pagan. So he hates it when white supremacists try to co-opt his faith. So he basically trolls them and says that no, the Tyr, the god of. Wait a minute. What is Tyr the god of? Like justice or something? Zach, what is Tyr the god of?
Law,
Law,
justice,
justice,
order,
order,
oaths,
oaths,
bravery,
bravery,
and self-sacrifice.
and self sacrifice. Okay, so Tyr is the Norse god of all of these things. And so white supremacists will co opt this god and say, yeah, this god would totally be Blue Lives Matter. And to which Zachary will then go, hold the fuck up, Caucasity.
Hold the fuck up, white supremacists. You and your mama are a bitch, first off. Second of all, cops embody none of those things.
Exactly. So that's what he does, and so that's why we get along so well. Um, yeah, it's not okay for white supremacists to co-opt religions that are not aligned with whiteness.
You think you're bald than they
Yeah. Um, even just saying whiteness alone, people that identify as white will take offense to that. And it's like, I don't think you understand. Whiteness doesn't have a culture. Instead, you can identify as Polish, you can identify as Irish, you can identify as German, you can identify as Italian, because these are cultures. These are literal cultural identities, and so that's not an issue. It's just that with whiteness, the entire point of why whiteness was invented was to be at the very top and in direct opposition to blackness. So that's, I mean, but that was like a whole last live ago. And white folks tend to get upset when I talk about shit like that. And it's like, if you get upset, then fine. You could go to another person's live stream. You don't have to stay. It's not. Did you ever face with white supremacy? Well, yes. I live in Oregon. Um, Check out some of my TikToks. I talk about this quite a bit, actually. Do you support reparations because of slavery? Yes. Yes. I feel like people are looking at that all wrong. Think of it this way. Um, Lost wages for unpaid labor. I've noticed that here in America, we talk about how, you need to get a job, you need to work hard. Okay, literal chattel slavery happened in this country. Are you going to pay those people for the labor that America profited and benefited from? Then that's when people tend to get butthurt. Personally, I recommend this one book. Where is it? Well, first of all, I recommend this book called Caste. Excellent. When talking about reparations, and then this other book called From Here to Equality. One more time, the name of that book is From Here to Equality. That actually talks more about how reparations should look uh, for Black America in the 21st century. Um, Worth looking into. Okay, well, you won't get any. Okay, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, how do you not think? Anyway, blocking. Boop, booty boop. Not if it was 150 plus years ago. It's like, yeah, well, people still get butthurt about 9/11, so I feel like it's relevant. Exactly. That might be an indication that you have blinders on. If you live in a historically slave state and you claim that you've never seen the Klan, you've never seen white supremacists, well, you had your blinders on. Okay? I think you just thoroughly explained white privilege is that you can choose to ignore that shit. Black people, on the other hand, we got to keep track of places that have sundown towns because that's going to be our ass. It's not that hard to figure out. Uh, this is weird. So you're saying you're Greek and your family suffered through 500 years of Turkish rule. Should I get reparations? Take that up with Turkish people. It's like, and why are you asking me? I'm no part of that. I'm not Greek or Turkish. I got my DNA results back, so no, I'm none of those. See about that. See about that. I don't know what that was supposed to do. It used to be a problem in Colorado, for real. I feel like I need to ask the black people how it is. Like, that's the thing, though, is that if I wanted to know if white supremacy was still a problem, do you think that I would ask white people? No. I would ask black people. I would ask people of color because those would be the people that would get attacked by white supremacists. Accept my guest request. All right, let's see where this goes.
Yo, what's up? I got a serious question for real, for real. Are Hispanic people allowed to say the N-word?
No.
What about 6ix9ine, Little Pump, and Cardi B? They're Hispanic, and
So
that's why I'm
for
asking.
okay, back up.
Yeah.
Cardi B,
Uh-huh.
would fall under because of, colorism and whatnot. She
Yeah.
is black and
She's
Hispanic,
half
though.
Dominican.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly. I have
Well,
a brother that is half Dominican. So she falls under the black category. The rest of them mofos that you mentioned, hell no. But unfortunately, in the rap game,
uh-huh.
non-black POCs use the N-word. Like Pitbull, for example. I remember one song where he said the
Pitbull
N-word and
said
it's
it?
like,
For real? That's
yes, but
wild.
no one said anything. And it's like, okay, so we just not gonna bring this up. So yeah, it gets talked about, and
But
honestly, it's bad.
a lot of Hispanics where I'm from, and they said the N-word, so I was just curious.
Well, that's the that's what I mean when I talk about anti-blackness is that
Hmm.
non-black POCs will come up with umpteen amount of reasons to say the N-word, but will simultaneously try to erase the Africanist presence from
Yeah.
their POC group.
So what percent, how much black do you need to have in order to say the N-word or be allowed to say it?
Well,
I'm Puerto
because
Rican,
race
so I have like black ancestry as well as like native Puerto Rican and white Spaniard.
it's
It's like
based
a
off of how
mixture.
you it's based off of how you are perceived because
Huh?
race is a social construct. So it's based off of what the hell you look like. Looking at you,
What? Hmm.
uh
What you mean?
I
What you mean? My
meant what I
grandma's half
said.
black.
That's what I mean.
It's not
Because
my fault.
I
Came out a little
also,
whiter.
but,
What?
but
Uh-huh.
realizing that, understand where intersectionality comes in. How do you benefit, and how does it also affect you in a negative light?
I
Because
mean,
you're not white. White people are not
yeah,
going to treat you as a white person. So
they're
that's
not. Half the
something.
country wants to kick me out, and I'm
Exactly.
American.
But at the same
Yeah,
time, black people are going to look at you and go, "Yeah, he not black."
yeah. I've been told I could pass as Middle Eastern before too.
So it's quite literally how you are perceived on the outside that would determine that. And survey says, "Hell no." My
Damn.
question is, why are you concerned with wanting to say a racial slur?
Oh no, 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 it ain't like that. It's like when you rapping with your boys or you trying to like be like, yo, what's up? It's like how you greet each other. At least where I live, because I don't know where you live, but I live in a pretty diverse community. We have a decent amount of all different races where I live.
What state?
Virginia, but I ain't gonna say what city I live in, but you can
No, I'm
probably
not trying to
guess.
say
Have you
all
ever
that.
been there?
I
You've been to
actually
Virginia
have,
before?
well, yes, I have family from there.
For real?
I'm from Baltimore City, Maryland, and so my mom's side
Oh
of the
snap.
family is from.
Yeah.
So,
What part
um,
of Virginia? Like just say like general. Don't say.
well, I have been to, personally, I've been to Richmond, Virginia, but as
Yeah.
far as where some of my mom's side of the family is from, West Virginia is kind of the consensus.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
don't I don't I stay on the East Coast of you. I catch my drift. I don't go places where I'm not allowed. You get what I'm saying.
yeah. Um, but that's what I mean though, is that within the black community, we have had this discussion quite a bit. We've discussed what it means for non-black POCs to enter into the hip hop industry and see what they do with it. There are some
Hmm.
people of color that don't use the N word at all, and they rap really well. It's quite possible to rap without saying a racial slur. It's very
You could
easy.
rap without even cussing too, for real, for if you want to get down
Yes,
to it.
but the problem is that other people of color don't see it that way. And
Yeah.
this is more so my personal opinion at this point,
Uh-huh.
is where hip hop is going. I
Yeah.
personally am not a fan of mumble rap. I don't know why the
Yeah. Do
fuck
you think
that's
we
been
do you think we
invented.
should eliminate everyone saying the N-word, or you don't care?
If I could, I would.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes sense.
I
Is that like the next step to like I don't know.
no.
I mean, that's not
Well,
gonna
the
stop
next
racism though.
no, it isn't. It really isn't. And that's just it. Racism transforms to fit the narrative of that generation. And what I mean by that is you'll see um some, not all, but some black people living in predominantly
Mhm.
white areas. And they will talk about how instead of saying the N word, their white friends will
Mhm.
say ninja. By itself, ninja is not a racial slur, but the fact that you're trying to substitute it for what actually is a racial slur, it's still racism. Like,
That's wild. I've never heard anybody say ninja, but that's crazy.
these TikTok
That's wild.
streets,
That's funny though.
okay? It's bad, you know? Um,
Do you listen to hip hop?
yeah, but
Who do you
I've been told
who's
I
your
have an
favorite
old
rappers?
soul. I've been told I have
Who do
an
you
old
like? Who do you
soul,
listen
so
to?
okay. Um, it depends on what mood I'm in, but
Yeah.
sometimes I listen to Eazy-E. Sometimes I listen to uh Kanye West before he went crazy. Because
What?
College
Kanye West
Dropout was the
is my
shit.
favorite artist.
but then but then after he lost his mom, he lost his fucking mind. So I don't really
I don't
listen
know.
to.
Kanye West is the greatest artist of all time.
He need help.
Listen, he's the richest black man in America. He
No,
did it
he
through
not.
hard work and
He
perseverance. What
is
you
not
mean?
the richest black man though. Who
He
told
is. In
you?
America?
Hell
In
no.
America. I'm not talking about the
Not even
world.
in America. Not even in America.
Who's richer than Kanye?
Jay-Z.
Nah, look it up. I
Yes.
promise you. I promise. I bet money on it. Look it up
Okay.
right now. Bet money on.
Whatever.
Go on your computer.
Whatever.
Go on your computer right now. I guarantee you, Kanye West is the richest rapper black man in America right now.
Okay. We'll see about that.
Listen, if I'm wrong, I'll buy roses and give them to you. It's Yeezy brand. Yeezy took him to a different level. I also like J. Cole.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Rapper in America. Okay, so it says here that his net worth is 1.8 billion. So now let's look up Jay-Z.
All right. And that's the Forbes list. It's not like other recordings. But
Okay.
even with the Forbes reporting, it's still higher than Jay-Z's.
So
According to
the more recent
according to divorce papers, Kanye's worth like 5 billion.
wait, 5 billion. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that
Yeah.
after he married a damn Kardashian and got divorced, he came out richer?
They both have a prenup, so they don't owe each other anything.
I
Yeah.
bet they
I mean,
bougie
it's smart
asses
on both
do.
their parts. Yep.
Okay, so it says here that Jay-Z is now worth 1.4 billion. Okay, so you're right. Look up Dr. Dre.
See?
That's fair. Dr. Dre, let's look him up actually
He's
because I
he's up
refuse
there
to believe
too.
that
He's up
Kanye
there
out of
too. Nah, but that's what people think. Like people want to say Kanye's crazy, Kanye's this, Kanye's that,
No, he's
but he's
fucking
making
insane.
business moves.
He has lost his
But he,
goddamn. Just because you make a lot of money, you can make a lot of money and still not be happy and still not have
that's
that
facts.
mental
That's
security.
true. That's true.
No amount of money can buy peace. It's
Are you
sad.
religious at all?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
What religion do you associate yourself with?
That is
If I
insane.
may ask.
How is this absolute artist this genius only worth 800 million? It's probably because
Told
of
you,
all.
Kanye's the GOAT. Listen, Kanye's been my favorite for a while now.
Okay.
I ride. Listen, I voted for Kanye in the primaries,
Oh God, don't do
but
that.
I
Don't.
didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him for president though. I didn't vote for him for president, just for primary. I was trying to give him that support.
I mean this. Fun
Listen,
fact:
I'm
Kanye
educated when it
West has
comes
a
to
cabin
politics.
up in eastern Idaho. Man, why the fuck Idaho? It's probably because ain't no black people up there. That's probably
He's
why.
got he's got a he's got a ranch in Wyoming. He
A
owns like
ranch in
30,000.
fucking Wyoming. Can you
Yep, he
imagine
owns
this?
like 30,000 acres of land.
That's
I promise
crazy.
you, it's crazy. That man's making moves.
Okay, but any any black man that is comfortable enough to
Yeah,
get
to
on
live in
national
Wyoming.
television and show support for Donald Trump, or even
Well,
let's
I
take
don't
it a
know.
step
Yeah,
further, he even had, what was it, like he had people wearing angel wings and shit.
yeah.
I don't know
Listen,
if
I
he
don't
said
know if
something.
this is true. I don't know
What?
if this is true, but I heard Kanye West supported Trump to get like people out of prison. But I don't know if that's true or not. Supposedly it was like some plot or like I don't know.
The
I don't
unfortunate
know if
part
that's true
about
though.
that is that a lot of white supremacists will try to gaslight and tokenize certain black people within the community and say, look, Donald Trump got Wheezy out of prison. How is he racist? And it's like, you don't understand a photo op, do you? You know,
Yeah.
if you free one Negro, automatically you just got to be the patron saint of black people. No, that's not how that shit fucking works.
Or
So
when they say that like black people had the lowest unemployment, even though like what is it, minimum wage is still an all-time high for a lot of like low income what is it called? Minorities. A lot of
yeah,
minorities don't make enough money even if they're employed. So the unemployment
yeah,
could be down, but they're still under what's it called? They're
and
under
black,
the poverty line.
yeah, and black intellectuals have talked a lot about the wage gap that still exists, um, the racial discrimination that still goes on
Minorities.
today. It's Biden is destroying this country. Ugh. I swear, all I get, like, what is it with white supremacists always coming to my live stream? It's like, if you don't like me so much, just go watch Ben Shapiro or whatever the fuck it is you do.
See,
Exact, like,
Chris is saying what I just said, bro. But he's not stating all the facts.
I mean, one thing
Lowest
that I,
unemployment until the pandemic hit.
yeah, my theory is Medford has a troll farm. Oh, that's hilarious. I was reading one of the comments, and because I live in Southern Oregon, yeah, there's a lot of fucking ops here. So,
You
um,
smoke weed?
yeah, I mean, I've only recently started back up because I've had some serious back pain. I was
Oh, you're
doing
good.
the most non-strenuous task. I was literally making my son's bed and then threw my back out
Hmm.
2 days ago. And so I have been partaking in the devil's lettuce because of that.
Oh, you're good. All good. I mean, weed is pretty safe for the most part.
Exactly. Oh, look,
For the
here's my
most part.
favorite question. Are you Antifa? Yes, I am. Yes, yes, I am. Are you
You know what's
scared?
crazy? Antifa is not even as organized as like the Proud Boys or other
Well, that's
racist
just it.
organizations.
Antifa is not a group, it's a mindset. Do you believe in fascism or do you believe that fascists should go away? It's very simple. So that's where I'm at. I don't think that fascists should have a platform, a voice, or a say in anything that goes on in America. But unfortunately, there are certain people that believe differently. It's not that Antifa is less organized than the Proud Boys. It's just that we not doing the fucking most like they're doing. What you'll find your local Antifa helping out homeless people. You'll find your local Antifa writing news articles about
Hitler was
exposing.
a fascist. Stalin
Yes.
was a fascist. If you're looking at actual like what was Stalin not a fascist?
Here's what I think. I will say that during Stalin's time, he was very authoritarian. However, um, Russia kicked Nazi Germany's ass, though. So it's
Yeah.
like I, I guess it's possible to come in different forms. So that's why a lot of Americans today will use the same tactics as McCarthyism, and develop this red scare and go, look, they want things to be like the USSR and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, but you do understand that both America and
I
Russia.
think the Vikings discovered America first.
Well, happy Leif Erikson Day.
No, that's to whoever asked about it in the comments. Christopher Columbus only landed in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. So
Yeah.
he didn't discover America per se, but he did discover the New World back during his time. I'm a history minor and political science major, so I learn about government and history.
Well, that's awesome. I was
Yeah.
thinking about going back to school though because I only completed my medical coding certification, so I was thinking about going back to
There you go.
school for business.
There you go. I got an associate's in business.
Nice. Okay.
I'm trying to stay educated. I'm trying to get out of the poverty.
Indeed. Indeed. So, unfortunately, the thing with quite a few Americans that like to use the scapegoat of um Stalin was communist, and this is how many people died under communism. And I'm like, bro, capitalism literally used chattel slavery. I don't think y'all want to go this route. But anyway,
The,
so um,
the wait, but real quick, the first people who really discovered America, if you want to get real technical, is the Native Americans who crossed
literally,
the
like the Native Americans,
who
in
were
order
here
to
before
discover
Christopher
something.
Columbus. So, I mean, if you want to get technical in basic history,
Yeah, yeah. So, do you recall a book called Animal Farm?
yes, I never read it though. It was forced during high school, but I just never read it.
Well, originally the book was banned in both America and the
Uh,
USSR. Why is that? Because it was a book about authoritarianism. So here you have one country that identifies as communist and another country that identifies as capitalist. And both of these countries are trying to, or already have, banned this one book about authoritarianism. Why is that? And a lot of far left people believe that there was never a true example of communism to happen because there was always some CIA military coup that would stop it from happening. So sometimes I like to listen to podcasts by
hmm
people that interview historians that talk about it,
Yeah.
um, like this military coup that happened in Chile in like the
hmm
70s. So, yeah. Um, is Animal Farm banned in the US now? When was it
No.
ever banned? Obviously, Animal Farm is not banned now. Clearly, at like the height of McCarthyism, it was banned. Get with the fucking times. I swear. It's like my life is always filled with trolls and gaslighters.
Ireland, Ireland run by the Irish people
One thing that I will say though is that I learned something when I was listening to a podcast yesterday
Yeah.
about being parallel to
What does that mean?
being parallel means that if any of your ideals um, align with communism,
Hmm.
then by association you're communist, even though none of what the hell you said was even
Hmm.
remotely revolutionary. Like, for example, um, black liberation, or at least the history of black intellectuals, um, like Paul Robeson, Du Bois. Um,
Wait, what is Chris James going on about in your comment section?
I don't know. It's like, maybe he just has his feelings hurt. I don't know.
You know,
I
it's
don't
crazy
know.
when people compare socialism to communism, even though they're completely different.
Thank exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And not
Oh,
just that, but the U.S. is a mixed economy, so it uses socialistic and capitalistic policies, not just one or the other. A pure capitalism only benefits the employer and not the employees, and government can't
exactly.
interfere.
And I've
So
even
you would
listened
have
to yeah.
mhm,
I've even listened to podcasts where it talked about labor history in America. So there was only one union that was super diverse, and that was the Wobblies. So the
mhm.
IWW. They were this more inclusive um, union in the early 1910s or whatever. And the fact is, the fact that they were the only ones. So that means that the other labor unions in America, they didn't center anti-racism or
I believe it.
anti-sexism. They didn't want to work with women. They didn't want to work with black people, obviously. So it's like, at this point, you have to look at the history of America. Why is that?
Hmm.
And the
Yeah, there's a lot
IWW
that
was
goes
the
to it.
initial, yeah. And the IWW was the initial Red Scare. That was initially what the Red Scare was referring to, before eventually spreading out to also include um, Russia.
Hey, Jacob, in pure capitalism, they force kids to work and employees get paid literally cents on the dollar. I mean, that's the whole reason why the
Yeah,
government interferes and puts minimum wage, social safety nets, etc. If you don't like, any type of socialism, you might not want to live in America since we have social welfare programs. That's technically
exactly. But here's the
socialism.
thing: people that are like super right wing or whatever, they hate anybody, you know, or whenever they see black people, they automatically assume that we're just all on welfare and, oh, this is
Hmm.
what my taxes pay for, and all of these things. And it couldn't be any farther from the truth. It is impossible to get rich off of welfare. I hate to break it to you.
It's also harder when you don't have any generational wealth. Like it's hard for you to invest. It's hard for you to start any businesses if you don't have any type of generational wealth, which a lot of minorities don't, especially
Exactly.
Hispanics coming over, since they literally had no prior history in America. They have no type of wealth
The
to start off with.
Constitution never allowed for welfare programs. Well, the Constitution also never allowed for me to be considered a full person. So what are you trying to
Yeah, the
say?
original Constitution had two parts about slavery, which allowed
Exactly.
it.
Like,
That's why they have constitutional amendments to change the bad parts of the Constitution and add, policies that are supposed to help all Americans in the
amen.
future. You can't live off of a piece of document written from like the 1700s. It just doesn't make any sense. I
Exactly.
mean, especially now with how technology is, it really makes no sense as to why you would follow a document like per se everything, and that's how it
Oh
gets
my God.
amended.
Hold
And
on. So, Chrissy here just said that America is democratic socialist. Let us all laugh at his ignorance right now. Where are we democratic socialist at? Show
yeah,
me. Show me. And there was this other white supremacist BS talking about some should have never changed it. Okay, so you asking to get blocked? Okay, let's do that then. Because basically, if a person says that we should have never changed the Constitution, then that means that black people should have never been considered full people. Then that means slavery should have continued, because during Abraham Lincoln's time, the Constitution supported slavery. Um, and also, white women shouldn't vote. So there's
yep.
that. So it's like,
Plus, most of the social welfare programs were created during the Great Depression, which highly affected white people as well. So I
yeah.
don't understand why they're complaining about social safety nets for the poor when it also helps them, not
So
just one
gas
specific minority
the
group.
gaslighting of social safety nets, I did look this up. So it came from the Reagan administration.
I
So
believe it.
so they gassed up this idea of what's called a welfare queen. And
Yeah.
so this um this painted black moms as constantly dependent on the welfare state, irresponsible leeches to American society, pretty much. And honestly, it gets old real quick because also white supremacists like to say, oh my God, I love Thomas Sowell. And Thomas Sowell was basically the black lapdog of Ronald Reagan. So,
You know what the big problem is though in America? The lack of education. I mean,
oh
most
my
voters are
God.
uneducated. So, I mean,
Yes, they are uneducated
but
as fuck on here. They said that the Constitution never speaks about race. OMG!
there's two
OMG!
parts in the Constitution that talk specifically about
Oh,
slavery. Although the
oh,
word slavery isn't said in the Constitution, there's reasons for that, but it still talks about owning individuals.
exactly. Somebody, like, just say you don't understand the Constitution and go prove it, and I'll change my mind. Okay, so you
It's
can do.
literally in the Constitution. Read it. What do you
If you could
mean?
just bring up the Constitution, there's this wonderful thing called Google. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's super amazing. You just
You
ask it
know,
a
you know the
question.
thing is, Jacob has never actually read the Constitution, nor
Right.
has he studied it, so he's assuming things, which is no fault
Exactly.
of his own. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, the school just didn't teach him, or whatever the case may be. I
Exactly.
mean, education literally affects not only blacks but whites and Hispanics. Like, we need educational standards for everybody, and Jacob is
Exactly.
living proof.
And so when I say that we need to expand on the education system in America, this is what I mean. The fact that people will get on the internet and say so many incorrect things about not only American history, but the Constitution itself, the history of labor. Why does everything have to be about race? Well, the fact that labor unions centered the white race above all else, I think it's something worth looking into. But people, and this is what I mean by parallelism, is that um, white supremacists automatically assume that when we're talking about um, educating people on Black history, that we're trying to indoctrinate them into communism and socialism and Marxism. And no, it's literally just telling the
Hey,
truth
wait,
about Black people's
Jacob, real
contribution
quick.
to America.
Jacob, look up Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. It's in the Constitution, and it referred to the Three-Fifth Compromise, which was about slavery. So that's
Look
like,
up Frederick
if you
Douglass
want to
while you
cite,
at it.
since he
Speaking
couldn't
of
do a simple Google search, I did it for him. Jacob, you're
exactly,
welcome. You owe
exactly.
me.
And then, if he would have looked up Frederick Douglass, if he would have learned about Frederick Douglass in school, he wouldn't have had to say some bullshit like that. Because Frederick Douglass, he he at one point aligned with the white suffragist movement for white women to get the right to vote. However, when the opportunity presented itself for, oh, just black men getting the right to vote, then that's when he distanced himself away from the white suffragists, and so they started using racial slogans after that partnership broke off. And so that's what I mean when I say that being black and a woman in America, you are constantly at a crossroads where liberation movements never center you specifically. I can either be for black liberation, or I can be in the back of the parade line if I wanted to fight for the liberation of women, but
Yeah.
never both.
Also, Chris, it doesn't matter whether Frederick Douglass was a Republican or not.
Yeah, it
What's
does
it
not
called?
matter
Abraham
because
Lincoln was a Republican, but modern Republicans are not the same as there was like three flips. and I learned about it in history. It was during
Hmm.
the 1800s with Abraham Lincoln. After that, there was another shift. The last shift, I believe, was in the 1930s during the Great Depression. And the reason for the switch was Democrats were unhappy about, or no, no, it was during the 60s. Democrats were unhappy with Lyndon B. Johnson giving rights to um, the African American population. So they literally just switched and became independent, and some started voting Republican. So like the
Yeah,
original racist Democrats, it's not a thing anymore currently.
exactly. They'll even try to say
Like
some
the
bullshit like,
current Democratic Party is not the same as
exactly. They'll
like
even try
in
to say some
1800s.
bullshit like, Dr. King was a Republican. No, the fuck he wasn't. He
No.
was the type of guy that that would critique any politician
Hmm.
because there is no one particular political party that centers the voices of black people. So a lot of times I will get white supremacists in my live feed talking about some,
Yeah.
oh, she's a liberal, blah, blah, blah. And I say, okay, I don't think you understand. I receive racism from liberals as well. I don't identify as liberal at all. When I start to point out how liberals are racist, they will try to gaslight me the same way that conservatives do. It doesn't really make a damn difference. Oh, do oh God. Jesus Christ. What is your political background? Well, if that's directed to me,
I'm an
um,
independent voter. I don't believe in either the Republican or Democratic Party. They both failed
amen.
Americans.
Amen.
If
Amen.
you really die, if you really ride or die for a political party, that's kind of like just dumb. They both
Yeah.
have their faults, and they both have their pros, I guess.
Is your Lord and Savior? What? I mean, if you're referring to
Who's
Christianity, I'm not Christian, if that was your question.
what are you? What's your religion?
Well, um, right now, I am, I consider myself a student
Uh huh.
of Ifa. Ifa
What is
is
that?
a West African um, spiritual faith,
Hmm.
and they say that Ifa survived the slave trade because when the transatlantic slave trade happened and
Yeah.
black people were forced to go to places like the Caribbean, um, that's how Voodoo and Santeria were born. Was um,
Is
that
like voodoo religions or something,
Voodoo,
or
and
is not? It's not the
yes,
same thing.
it's not the same thing. It's more like it's more like a root, or not,
Well,
or
for me,
Ifa would
my
be the root,
yeah.
but Voodoo would be the branch.
For me personally, I think almost all religions are bullshit. But if I had to associate with one, I associate with Christianity. I do go to church, but I think all organized religion is BS for the most part.
Well, that's just it. Ifa is not um, a traditional religious doctrine that Abrahamic faiths tend to be.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't follow the same like gendered roles, I would say, that goes on in Western based Christianity. Um,
Yeah.
because in West Africa, women um,
Yeah.
can be practitioners of Ifa. They can be what's called an Ayanifa. So um, they have the same rank as their male counterparts. Is the point? However, when you get to um, places like Cuba or something like that, where they practice Santeria,
Yeah.
you'll notice that there is more of a patriarchy over there where they try to say that, oh, women can't practice Santeria because of this, and they're dead ass wrong. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I've.
my main reason for like being Christian and all that, or like one of the reasons how I look at religion, it's like the three biggest monotheistic religions all believe in the same God. So I'm not sure if there's a correlation between truth and most people believing in something, but it's just like one of those coincidences where I'm like, I mean, it's like over half the Earth population believes in the same God. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it has to do with cultural erasure, forced
Yeah,
assimilation,
yeah,
also the fact that traditional Abrahamic faiths, um, a lot of their stuff is written down, whereas it's only more recent that Ifa has been seen in written form because traditionally it's passed down orally. So that's
yeah.
why. Um, that's where a lot of people kind of get confused about that kind of thing.
Well,
Oh,
religion is always a touchy subject. So is politics.
yeah. But I figure, and this is just from a personal perspective for me, because I believe that black people should have the right to choose what they want to believe in, what they don't, because that's the one thing that was taken away from us is the right to choose. So for black people in America, if they want to continue practicing Christianity, that's on them. I just know that it was because of the slave trade that Christianity was forced on us. So,
Yeah.
coming from a Christian household, I wanted to
Uh,
know what was what what was Africa like before colonialism? What was the belief system like
yeah.
in Nigeria before colonialism? And then that's how I discovered Ifa
Yeah, I mean, we're all
and
free
how I
here
met
in
my
America
fiance.
to believe in what we want. Oh, there you go. That's always a plus.
Hmm. Yep.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Christianity, I like Christianity for the most part. Although obviously all religions have their downside to them, like historical wise. I mean, what the I guess real Christians wouldn't go and conquer the native lands. So, I mean, the main reasons why, like conquistadors and Englishmen came to the Americas was for financial reasons. Like religion was used, but it was never actual religious reasons to take over people's lands and enslave them. It was just financial institutions that allowed for this.
I'd have to
That's why I don't.
disagree.
I mean, I don't. I mean, religion plays a role, but it's not like no one. Like the Bible doesn't say go and enslave and kill millions of Native Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's just it. They I've noticed that a lot of white Christians get butthurt when I bring up history about Christianity and Black people. So one of the
Hmm.
things that I bring up, and this comes from this book discussion that I used to lead, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Only because in Uncle Tom's Cabin, the author Harriet Beecher Stowe would include biblical verses, and in her book there would be commentary of white people using Christianity to justify slavery and things like that. So in the book it says that um, one of the verses that white people used was the story of Noah's descendant Ham. So in that story, any descendants of Ham would be considered cursed. So they
Yeah,
associated black people with Ham's descendants. And so they
yeah.
believed that black people came from a second creation and that justifies the reason why they should be subjected to servitude forever.
See, but here's the thing though, like all of those are not actual based on any facts, you know what I mean? Like religion, all religions, not just Christianity, but Islam, Judaism, it's used for harm. Like they're turning something, in my opinion, that can be good because all religions have some good to them to a certain extent, and like they're taking that and creating harm for financial reasons. Like most of the reasons why we go to war, why we enslave people, why we kill each other, it's for financial benefits. Most of the conquistadors from Spain came here for financial reasons. There was a bunch of gold in the Americas. and they stole them from the natives for financial reason. And then they used Christianity as an scapegoat, saying, "Hey, we're gonna come civilize these people," even though they
Exactly.
were pretty civilized. But it's not because of Christianity; it's because of financial reasons. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, like I
Like at the
say,
end of
I
the day,
tell
it's
people,
all rooted in finances.
well, yes, but I tell people that uh, Christianity was used as a tool of justification for all of these things, and so I say
Yeah,
to people that that you can decolonize Christianity if you find yourself using Christianity to justify why someone who you don't like or someone that isn't the same as you should be denied basic human rights. Well, then congratulations. You have the same mindset as the colonizers. Oh, these people are different from me, and my religion says that they're the op. That's what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I mean, Dr. King, and I know that white supremacists like to tokenize him a hell of a lot. But the fact of the matter is, Dr. King uh, also critiqued white churches because of their hypocrisy,
Yeah,
because they are justifying segregation or, something like that, right? And so
yeah.
he was one of those figures that used Christianity to, um, in a sense, liberate. So it's possible to use Christian ideals to um call out racial hatred
I
and
mean, I
bias.
learned about, I forgot the guy's name, but he lived in Cuba. It was a missionary, and
Hmm.
it was like during the time where the Spanish came and colonized, and he was a priest, and he used religion to argue for the freedom of the native and indigenous people, and saying that enslaving them is not very Christian-like. It's it goes against God's like mandates of the Bible, like enslaving people. You know what I mean? So there's like good and bad. People can argue either way, but I mean, for the most part, like people only enslaved others for financial reasons. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm,
all those landowners from the South, they couldn't make any money without free labor. You know what I mean? Because it is free labor when
exactly.
you buy someone. So they didn't care about religion. I mean, they used religion as a scapegoat. And whether they believed
Yeah.
in God or not, I don't know because I didn't know them personally, but I know they benefited tremendously financially
Well, there's a
from
reason
slavery.
why the Bible Belt quite literally reflects a lot of the slaveholder states. That's not an accident. There's one portion within this book that I have called Cast, and it's written by Isabel Wilkerson. And I'm trying to read this really awesome quote that basically sums up what we're talking about. Here it is. Okay, so a
Wait,
caste system.
before you read that, Joe, Rome's had slaves even before Christianity was a thing. Like before Christianity was ever even made,
Well,
Romans had
yes.
slaves, so
Well,
it
that's
wasn't
just
used
it
to
though.
justify slavery.
You have to you have to look at what what type of slavery we're talking about, because there's chattel slavery like we're talking about with America, and then there's serfdom like in other parts of Europe,
Yeah,
or
you're right.
vassalship.
Yeah, modern slavery, or at least from the 1600s forward, is a lot different than like ancient slaves. In
Exactly.
some
We're
places,
talking indentured servitude even.
in some places like Egypt, I believe, they use a lot of slave labor to build.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I know the Aztecs and the Mayans, they use slaves as human sacrifices. So I guess in their case, slavery wasn't a good thing either.
But it's worth looking into the difference between chattel slavery and uh, the different types of slavery that happened around the world throughout history, because that's also another uh, gaslighting talking point that white supremacists like to use, is that, oh, slavery has always been a thing. Why is the enslavement of black people any different? And it's like, well, that's kind of why we want to expand public
No.
education, is the fact that you
Yeah.
don't know the damn difference.
Also,
So,
ancient slavery wasn't based on race. It was mostly like conquered people became slaves, while like
exactly.
modern slavery was just black people for the most part. and
exactly.
indigenous people in some cases.
And there's a lot of journals that were written about this. I have a JSTOR account. Are you familiar with JSTOR?
Yeah, I got JSTOR for my college. They give me access to it.
Nice. So I pay the little measly $10
Yeah.
because I'm not in college right now. But basically, I came across this amazing article. It's called Partners or
Hmm.
Captives in Commerce. And it was this article written in the 70s about Africa's role within the slave trade, because white supremacists also like to say that what Africans sold other Africans, so stop blaming white
Hmm.
people, or something like that. And that article goes into detail about how Africans viewed indentured servitude versus what white people actually had in mind. In Africa, it was serfdom, it was indentured servitude. These so-called slaves had rights,
Hmm.
whereas by the time that they got to America, all those rights were gone. So
Yeah.
here,
Also, for indentured servants, they only worked. I think it was like what 7 to 10 years, and then you were freed. While like
exactly,
slaves were never
exactly,
freed. They worked for
yeah,
life.
exactly. So in the book called Caste, the quote goes like this: a caste system relies on dehumanization to lock the marginalized outside of the norms of humanity so that any action against them is seen as reasonable. And we see that with white people who um, immediately justify why black people should be murdered by cops. Without even looking at what was going on, they will automatically side with state sanctioned violence. Why is that?
I don't know. I think most Americans are uneducated for the most part, so that's why we have a lot of
Amen.
racism, a lot of division, a lot of
Mm,
divisiveness in this country. It's just a lack of education, and that all goes to blame the I guess political structure for not having better
mm.
educational systems in place. But what can you do about it, right? I guess try to self-educate yourself,
Exactly. I
or
mean, my this is
it's like this
something
guy
that
William in the chat. He says, "Shouldn't you be at a riot?" That's pretty racist because
I
they're
mean,
assuming just
I'm
because you're
not a
black, you
proud
have to be at a
boy,
riot.
so no. Like I'm not a proud boy. I'm not a Klan member, so no, I don't do riots. But
Yeah, no.
thanks for asking.
Yeah, no. You're the undercover cop.
Exactly. Like I'm not an undercover cop. Like I got more shit to do with my time. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, I'm about to go. Nice talking to you and
yeah,
nice
nice
talking to everyone in the
chat.
chat.
It was pleasant.
Hopefully, some people learned something from this.
Yeah, it's not hard to read
Hopefully,
books,
they learned
people.
that, yeah, that slavery is in the Constitution, original Constitution.
Exactly. But anyways, good luck with your studies.
Thank you. Y'all
All
have a
right.
peace, blessed day.
You
All right,
too.
bye.
Bye bye. Well, that was pleasant, y'all. I was on the fence about him. But I like when people read. It's nice. It's wonderful. Well, hopefully everyone learned something from a nice civil conversation. Oh my god. If you don't understand the Constitution, just say that. I feel like I need to get the name of the high school that you went to so that I can write a strongly worded letter about you need to teach the Constitution better. But anyways, I have spoken spoken with my fiance quite a bit about um, future plans. Uh, he really he really wants me to, I don't know, teach teach people about IFA. Like the more that he teaches me, and then he wants me to teach other people. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I just want to move to Nigeria and be done. I don't want to. I'm done with this shit. I don't want to debate with white people about how you should, humanize black people. I'm done with that. That's a waste of time. I don't want to do that. This girl trying to talk down with her Dollar General headset. I mean, well, first of all, I didn't know that Dollar General had headsets. And then, second of all, this not even mine. I'm not a gamer. This is my roommate's headset, and he lets me use it sometimes. So. And I was looking down at my necklaces. Thank you. Because, like everybody else, I cherish the gifts that are given to me by my spouse. Just proving my point, but okay. I don't really know what the point was. I don't know. Um, I was hoping you could explain that to me. It's like it's something I'm missing. But anyways, I'm really loving my West African drip. This is awesome, especially the bracelet. And here we have a product of modern education system. I mean, but that headset, like, what? What is? I am unclear on what exactly is going on. Like, what is the issue with the headset exactly? How does that indicate that a person is on welfare if they're wearing a headset? America's very backward that way. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm not a gamer, so you're not hurting my fucking feelings. I'm too busy reading. I ain't got time to play video games. The fuck? But anyway, so yeah, um I got goals, man. I can't wait to be able to host a seminar where, people get to learn about West African faiths, and they get to learn about indigenous faiths here, and the importance of not cultural appropriating things. It's worth looking into. I mean, if y'all say so. I don't. It's like, if you got time out your day to like troll people, how sad is your life? Personally, I was just chilling. I had a nice conversation with a random person on the internet. I got gifts from my fiance, and he is coming to visit me in the spring. It's gonna be awesome. I was thinking either doing a bed and breakfast, or there's this one hotel in Medford where I live, where I looked at the prices for the executive suite, and in the executive suite it has a jacuzzi in the room, and I'm like, this is tempting. I might have to look into that. And I might be crazy for saying this, but I don't think that $300 is a bad um, price for staying in a room that has a jacuzzi in the damn room. Like, and it's spacious too. So, where is he now? He is in Nigeria. So, my fiance is Yoruban. He is an Ifa priest, or what they call a Babalawo. And he has students all over the world. So yeah, his life's pretty fucking cool. That, and he could just say the words peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that shit sounds amazing. Just the accent alone, I am sold. Just take me now. Excuse me while I simp over my own fiance. How did you meet him? Well, here's what happened. So, a couple years ago, I had a few near death experiences to the point where I was drained spiritually, you know? And I feel like everybody's path is different. So, um I did ancestry. And then once I found out that at least 40% of my DNA came from Nigeria, I started looking into what West African faiths are practiced in Nigeria aside from Christianity or Islam. And then that's when I stumbled upon the spirituality of Ifa. So then I was looking for notable Ayanifas. And then that's when I found my mother-in-law or soon-to-be mother-in-law. When I found her, she didn't speak any English, so she had, I guess, either her daughter or her son translate for her when I reached out to her via Facebook. So then, after I reached out to her and I asked her, hey, can you do a reading for me? She agreed, and that's how I met uh, my fiance. Is I wanted to talk to a respected Ayanifa in Nigeria, which is his mom. And according to him, I'm going to believe him because he's a priest. According to my fiance, um, his mom told him after that one video conversation that I had with her, uh, she is the one. After that conversation, she was like, she's special. Next thing I know, after talking about Ifa and ambitions, then one day he popped the question. So that's what happened. And I said yes. So, Ifa system is a polytheistic pagan religion. Well, that's just it. West African spirituality, according to West Africans, don't fall under the category of pagan. It's just that, unfortunately, Christians seem to believe that Ifa is pagan because anything non-Christian or non-Abrahamic or whatever. So, you know. But I will definitely say that it is polytheistic, though. But again, this is a spirituality, and so there's a difference between religion and spiritual belief. Before meeting him in person, yes. And I know that sounds crazy as fuck, right? Why would you agree to marry someone that you haven't met in person? Well, when literally that man's job is to read the destinies of people for a living. It's like it's his job to know who I am. as a person. So the fact that like he already knows. It's like I got to I just gotta get more of that, you know? It's just a whole different experience. But it's part of the reason why I'm excited to see him this spring because this would be the first interaction in person. But then again, this is America. We literally have a TV show called what, 90 Day Fiance? How can you not want to go on that adventure? Exactly. Like, exactly. You know? Plus the fact that he has a sense of humor too. Like he's not one of those super serious, solemn priests. Cause I would tell him all the time, I'm like, look, um, I keep trying to drop subtle hints and warn you about the fact that I am an excitable person. I'm a goofball and I am socially awkward. Are you sure this is the person you want to marry? And he straight up says, yes, like I want to make you laugh and smile for the rest of your life. And I say, you know what? Bet. You know? Oh, man. So I'm excited. I am excited that, and I can't wait to move to Nigeria and I can learn how to make fufu and how to make Nigerian beef stew and shit. That'd be awesome. Yeah. One all powerful controlling God is odd. Yeah. 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 Because it's really difficult. There's different types of Christians. There's ones that give off the weird vibe, like But then there's ones that are really cool. They're not trying to convert you. Their belief is their belief, and they're kind towards you. No matter what spiritual faith you believe in. Um, and even in activism circles, like I'm involved in out here, I met uh, a white woman who's gay, who's a pastor. And I said, that is crazy. And I was all like, where did you move from? She was like, Arkansas. And I said, oh, honey, I've always wanted to try, right? Like, I've always wanted to try that shit. I don't know what it tastes like, but I know it's like pounded yam or something. So I'm like, well, I love yams and sweet potatoes. So I'm trying to, get me some of that. Yeah. Um, it's definitely one of those journeys. One of the things that I admire about my fiance is simply that he has a calmness about him that I sometimes despise because I turn up all the time. And the fact that he is just calm and collected, I'm just like, what are you doing that I'm not doing, Um, and also his emotional intelligence. And that's something that my dating history, oh, emotional intelligence is something that I admire. It's a lot less conflict that way. Because ladies, have you ever, when I'm talking to the ladies, the femmes, emotional, like, have you ever in your dating history came across a guy that wanted you to not be his partner, but to basically be his mom, you know, or the guy that tries to emotionally gaslight you, um, make you think that you're the crazy one, even though he's the one that's really not doing what he said he's supposed to do. It just gets so frustrating to argue for the bare minimum. But when you come across someone that has emotional intelligence, you get to bypass all that bullshit. You don't have to go through none of that bullshit. You can just grow together. You don't have to, you know, because I feel like if you are with someone that does not have emotional intelligence, you can't yourself grow as a person because that person is holding you back. Whereas if you're with someone that has the emotional intelligence necessary for a relationship, it's like, yes, this is true growth. This is true uh, partnership. And I am all for it. I'm never going back. So I can't wait. Definitely get you someone that you can be yourself around. You don't have to put on some facade or something like that. You can just be you. And they love your ass anyway. That, and he absolutely loves my son. Um, and he doesn't even refer to Eric, my son, as my son. No, he also refers to Eric as his son. So, amen. Amen. Dual citizenship. That's what I'm talking about. Get your passport ready, ladies. It's good. It's good. Plus, I think that um, Eric, my son, could learn a lot from Fabuyeire. You ever hear that saying that it takes a village uh, to raise a child? When I move to Nigeria, I'll actually have that. Also, what is going on in my comments right now? With your ex, were you able to be yourself? No. And I'll tell you why. So, with my ex, who is white, um, and the biological father of my son, he didn't have emotional intelligence, um, like at all. And I thought for a time, you know, that he did, but he just didn't. And so we would be arguing all the time. He was definitely one of those guys that would say, um, I want to be in a relationship. But that's not what he truly means. What he means is he wants to continue fucking around. He just wants you to be not fucking other people. You know, he wants to be the only person that you're with intimately. That was his mentality, which was some bullshit because it's like, for one thing, I'm not a jealous person. So I don't care if you want to be with other people. I just want you to understand that I don't have to be a part of it. I can, just leave and cue the gaslighting and the you're crazy and I'm not cheating and blah blah blah. So at times he had a human side about him, but it's not enough. And when he went to prison, um, I started getting so many messages from a bunch of random women. And I'm just like, okay, honey, he is not my problem anymore. If you want to contact him, here's the prison he's currently at. Whatever shit y'all need to figure out, you want to find him, go take a number, go get him. Leave me out of it, you know? So yeah, when I first moved into my apartment, I was getting messages from random women and all of these things. And finally, when I had to go back to my hometown of Baltimore City, Maryland, and cremate my mom because she died, when I got back to Oregon, my son's grandmother, Diane came over to my apartment and she was like, so I didn't want to tell you this while you were in Baltimore because of everything that was going on, but hey, your son has a sister. And I said, what? My son has a what? So she's telling me that my ex impregnated not only me, but also impregnated another woman. And I'm just like, awesome. So my son's grandmother, Diane, gives me the information, and I reach out to the other woman. And I said, hey, look, so holidays are coming up. At this time, it's already like November. And I'm like, hey, so holidays are coming up. Uh, do you want to get the kids together to take some Christmas photos or some shit? And, she's all like, yeah, sure. I originally didn't want to reach out to you because this would have been awkward considering the situation. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. Honestly, it's not the worst news that I've heard in the span of 60 days. Honestly, when you hear that your mom died, things don't seem so big like they could be. Not even a little bit. So we got the kids together. They got to take their holiday photos. I don't know if maybe I'll be able to show you. This is the nope. That's me and him. There we go. So this is I don't know if you can see that photo right there, but the pink blob is his sister. So her name's Josie, and they get together every now and again when it's either of their, birthdays or whatever. So, like this is what I mean by grown woman shit, okay? I can't stand a heifer that purposefully keeps her child away from her child's siblings just because they may have different uh dads or different moms or something like that. Diane is the Karen of the boomer generation. My Gmon goes by Diane. Oh no! But it's a lot of my mindset comes from the fact that I grew up in a mixed household where people or the siblings that I um, had different folks. Like I have step siblings, I have half brothers and sisters, and so when I say it definitely takes a village, and you're supposed to be the adult that the child version of yourself would want to look up to, I try to do that. So when I was growing up and seeing how much my parents or uh, other adults in my parents' lives would argue about kids, I don't want to do that. Because that takes away from that child's experience with their own siblings, you know, with your adult drama. Like, if it's supposed to be about the kids, then make it about the kids. So that's what I've been trying to do. And that's all that matters. One thing that I will say, though, is that it didn't go over too well when I told my ex that I wanted to move to Nigeria um, after getting sole custody of my son. Because it's like, because he told me that, he was going to take me to court and, all of these things. And I'm just like, sir, you're in prison. What judge in their right mind is going to award any kind of custody to you? Is my question. But do you, I suppose. Do you? had he not gone to prison, I would have definitely been that type of parent to where, yeah, you can see your dad, your life is not in any kind of danger, so I don't mind. But that's not the case with him. He's not a good role model, and he's dangerous. So no, in fact, when my son turns 18, if he wanted to know anything about his biological father, I'm not going to hold anything back from him. How many years does he have to do? So he has to do 10 years, and I think he has 6 more years to go when the new year comes. So obviously, in that amount of time, I can already, take the paperwork to court as soon as I get myself situated here and get that done. Because, oh yeah, it's going to be a whole ass different process to then take my son out of the country. Because there's the passports, there's also like a fee over $2,000 to relinquish your citizenship. So there's a lot that goes into this. It takes a lot of money. The best thing he can do is take the time he has without parental responsibilities to be a better person. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think he's going to do that. And it's so sad. I do not think that he's going to do that. I don't know why he would even want to fight me in court over my son. Because, well, obviously, my son is black. And he himself is white. And clearly, he has no interest in learning about the black experience in America. So you're not going to give him valuable information about how to grow up in a white supremacist society. You're going to ignore that shit. Whereas I have to be the bearer of bad news all the time. That, and I'll be damned if you try to give him relationship advice. What the hell do you know about relationships, sir? You can't go 2 minutes without cheating. Well, that, and also my son's sister's mom, so the other woman, she has her daughter video chat with my ex, because he's in prison, but you can still do video chat conferences or whatever. So she has her daughter do that. I don't say anything because that's not my fucking business. Like, if you want to do that, if you want him to be involved in her life, then do you. I'm not going to tell you how to run your life. I, however, won't be doing that. So the one time that my son was at her house and she was video chatting with my ex, and my son saw the screen, he had no idea that he was looking at his biological father. He has no idea who he is. And that's not my fault. I didn't tell you to go to prison. So if he would have been a good role model, we could have, co-parented, because I do believe in co-parenting. But because he's not safe around women, why the hell would I want him around my son? And that's on point blank, period. But stories like this, I have been labeled many things, like, oh, she's ghetto, she has a baby daddy in prison, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I didn't tell him to do what he did. Him going to prison has nothing to do with me. The fact of the matter is that people lie. People portray themselves as something that they are not. And I don't think that that's something we should demonize women, especially black women, for. But we live in a society where that happens anyway. I'm all about moving on with your life. People, like, if you could take back the things, you would. But in my case, if I take back the things, I would not have my son. So sometimes in a crazy sort of way. Things happen for a reason. But at least I can say that I learned a lot for the experience, though. If there could be any kind of takeaway, I would definitely say don't judge a book by its cover, you know? Because being a parent ain't easy, but then also being a singular parent ain't easy. But once I, you know, tie the knot officially and move to Nigeria, I I will cease to be a singular parent. Then it goes back to being a two-parent household, and I'm fucking ecstatic about that. And I know there's quite a few people that will call me racist simply because I tell people that I don't want my son to identify as white. And I say, well, I can't give birth to white children. So that would make no sense. I will say, however, that if my son were to take a DNA test and he finds out that portions of his DNA come from Ireland or Wales, then these could be cultures that he could look into. Has nothing to do with whiteness, but everything to do with legitimate cultures. See, that's something that I would condone if he wanted to expand further than just his African roots. It's just that because of who I am, he's going to learn about the Africanist presence first. Just like when I did my ancestry, I found out that I was what 1% Irish, 3% Scottish, some other things. Am I interested in learning about that side of my DNA? Not particularly, considering the history as to why that's there. Um, yeah, so I got to choose. I'm gonna learn about Nigerian culture because 40% of my DNA comes from there. So I feel like that's worth looking into. And that's why I made the choice. Honestly, I wish I could talk to other people that have mixed children and ask if they came to the same conclusion too, because the idea of whiteness is a byproduct of race science. So, but if you're identifying with an actual culture, well, then that's different. I was actually contemplating about whether or not I should do a TikTok on some of the things that my fiance has taught me about the Ifa faith, um, or I don't know, just some of my thoughts around that. I don't know. The sky's the limit. But I want to know, what is everybody else thinking exactly? What is everyone else up to? Because I can't be the only one out here in these TikTok streets just wanting to know what's going on. What is everyone else up to? Hmm. We are certainly quiet this evening. Well, it's kind of nice that I managed to get a lot of trolls out of my comment section. I'll say that. I'm from Oregon and I saw your TikTok on Oregon police. Wasn't surprised, was disappointed. Yeah, Yeah. Yeah. It's fair. Every now and again, yeah, I try to talk about the literal racism that still exists here in Oregon because I don't like the fact that uh, people try to say that um, Oregon votes blue, therefore Oregon is liberal and Oregon just isn't racist. That's not the case at all. Um, still racism, still racism. Especially if you look into the state's history, it's pretty bleak, you know. But what is everyone else's thoughts though? Because I'm from rural Oregon. Oh, your state representative might be what? Who? Cliff Benz or something like that. Because he's the representative of District 2, which is like the largest district simply because it's just a whole bunch of rural areas. I've heard about Cliffy. Not a fan. Not a fan. Honestly, when you look up a state representative's profile and they say we're about traditional family values, they typically mean straight, cis, heteronormative family structure. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. That's what I've noticed. Um Plus the fact that I've been to Coos Bay and they're so open about their racism while simultaneously saying that they're not racist. I bullshit you not. One time, I was at a protest in Coos Bay because I was invited, and there was this guy who said at a city council meeting that we're not racist. Mexicans live here. And I said, huh? What? You're not racist because you allow Mexicans to live in your community? It's very telling, don't you think? You just spent hours preaching your victimhood, race, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and you take time out of your day to come to my live stream and listen. So you could leave. You're weak, honestly. I'm going to tell you something, and it's probably going to be, in your eyes controversial. But here's the thing, though. I have this theory that if white people and black people were to trade spaces for just a day, white people could not handle it. I'm also black, if you say so. If you fucking say so, bro. I'm also black and rich. I didn't realize that rich black people spent their time on TikTok to gaslight other black people about racism. Hmm. I mean, if you a class B troll, just say that. Let's see. Yep, you are a rich black person with no bio. You have a picture of a dog, and you have 217 followers. Wow. Okay. Anyways, really sad. Really sad. At least get better at trolling. At least do that. You know, I'm more offended by the fact, yeah, rich people don't say I'm rich. Exactly. Exactly. You don't have to say that shit. Honestly, we can just tell. It's so terrible. Just stop. Just stop. One thing that I will say before I go ahead and get out of here because my back is aching. I literally pulled a damn muscle. I am 26 years old. This is some bullshit. I really pulled a muscle and could not move for 2 days. This is some bullshit. But anyway, so what I wanted to say was that people ask me, okay, what is the solution to racism? What's the solution? What should we do next? And honestly, one of the things that I've told people is that you have to educate yourself on race relations in America, the history of race relations in America, and then um, push for that education to be put in the history books for the next generation. Because to be perfectly honest with you, real change, I'm already aware will not happen in my lifetime. It's something that I've accepted, something that I already know. Because look at how long that it took for slavery to end. Look at how long it took for um, for black women to get the right to vote. How long it took for um, it really took the coronavirus to get white people to say that or to speak bad on the healthcare industry. Because before the coronavirus, white people were not concerned with the healthcare industry at all. However, black people have been talking about medical discrimination for generations, but it has always gone unheard. And only when certain things start to affect white people do they start saying the quiet part out loud. Like when they say that wearing a mask is tyranny or is somehow synonymous with segregation. Just it very much shows that you will never be um, used to what actual oppression is. But you say that you do. It's really weird. Exactly. Nobody plays victim more than people that don't think racism exists in America. Exactly. Exactly. And so, with that being said, we're so far behind. The first thing that we have to do is establish that racism is real. Oh, excuse me. Racism does not care that a black person is rich. Racism does not care that a black person has served 2 terms as a president. Racism does not care. Amen. Don't tread on me. Exactly. Racism does not care about any of these things, but we see that white people will gaslight people of color and black people about racism, saying that it doesn't exist. You have a victim mentality, all of these things. So we have to do what at least at least what Germany did after World War II, where they did not leave anything out in terms of teaching their children that yes, the Holocaust happened. Here's what happened. Go to these internment camps. This is what it looks like. This is the shame of our past, but this is what we can be in the future. But America does not do that. Does not do that at all. You tell a white person that yes, in the 1800s, Christians from that time advocated for slavery. They will say that you're lying, even though you're not lying at all. It's documented that that has happened. You can say that, look, there is a cookbook that teaches you how to cook black people, and it was around during slavery times. White people will not believe you. They will say that you're lying. This is propaganda. It's not real, or it happened so long ago. Get over it. It's so like you want to deny the truth that's right in front of your face. And it's honestly sad. So that's why I say that the very first thing that people have to do is educate themselves. That's the only way that we're going to get anywhere. And then the next part, I've been at a crossroads about. Exactly. I have one I have some conflicting feelings because when you look at Black history, you see that there are historical Black figures that um, voted for. um, racist white people for president. That there's a history of that, but it's like it's not like they had any other choice though. That's just it. So I'm somewhat involved in politics, not at a super huge national level, but in the state of Oregon, working with a panel of people that are involved with the Oregon House of Representatives state politics, basically. Just working on them with one particular bill, and that's House Bill 3112. That's about as far into politics as I have gone. But even just, doing stuff like that, I wonder, is it truly the answer? Is it truly the answer that we're searching for is for black people to get more and more involved in politics until we actually make a stride in the right direction? That's the question that I have. Because here's the thing, do we think that a revolution is supposed to adhere to the rules of the status quo in order to change the status quo? That's the ultimate question. Is that truly something that we should be doing? Because there has never been a true example um of a communist society or something like that. There's not, who's to say what a liberated society even looks like? We've not experienced it. Violence always hurts the disadvantaged the most, so I think the best way is breaking it from within. Well, that's just it though. Take people or yeah, people that identify as a progressive Democrat. There's this one person in Medford, Oregon that does identify as progressive Democrat, and his name is Kevin Stein. Kevin Stein is part of Medford City Council, and his political view is progressive Democrat. However, how can you call yourself progressive in anything if you vote for an ordinance that that puts homeless people at risk? If you're constantly um, being a part of the system that disenfranchises homeless people, you are a part of this capitalist society that criminalizes homelessness. So, how can you call yourself a progressive Democrat if that's something that you do? And so with that being said, it's like you can get into um being a politician, but once you get in, you're pretty much corrupted, or any of the original shit that you said that you're going to do, you're not going to do, or you can't do. So is this the change that we're talking about? Is this the change that I've been hearing about? And then you look at the history of labor in America. And I keep bringing that up because so many uh, state sanctioned violence examples play a part in it. How um, people that wanted to unionize would be uh, shaken down by cops. And then the same people that wanted to unionize, instead of, just protesting about it, they also stopped the means of production um, by force in a lot of cases, so that capitalists could stick their heads up from counting their money and pay attention to what's going on outside. Is that, oh, they stopped my money flow um, to get my attention. They want me to adhere to what they want to do. Okay, well then, because I'm the capitalist, I can take the money that I have and hire um, uh, union busters, or um, or local police, because that also plays a role too. So either local police or union busters to break up people that want to get into unions or something like that. That's the history that we have here in America. So it's like with to say that violence solves nothing, historically that's inaccurate. There have been many things that have happened that have pushed things forward because of violence. I I wish it could be different. I wish there was another way around it, but to be perfectly honest with you, the state doesn't take you seriously unless there is some type of, violent motive. I really wish there was another way around it. And plus with those Trump supporters that were so bold on January 6th, like we know what kind of country that we live in. So, yeah, and you're right. It does hurt the people at the bottom. Like for example, um, the Black Lives Matter protest or movement, they received, the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Well, also there were white supremacists that tried to, infiltrate the movement and do the looting and rioting that white supremacists say that they care about so much. And it's like, oh, well, you say that you care about looting and rioting and you don't like it, but yet you infiltrate the Black Lives Matter movement dressed as a thug and you're the ones doing it. So what exactly are you trying to say? So yeah, I would definitely say shit like that. It paints oppressed people in a bad light, but also there is no form of protest that will be seen as acceptable in the eyes of the oppressor. You can't ask your oppressor nicely to stop oppressing you. But here we are. I mean, even with the so-called progressive Democrats that we have in Congress, remember when they pushed for $15 being the minimum wage? It's bullshit. Because $15 an hour is not going to get you a two-bedroom apartment in any state. None. Not a single one. So, with that being said, why even push for that? Because that's not going to help anyone. But even then, that got shot down. So what do you do then? Democrats aren't progressive by nature. Exactly. Exactly. So trying to get into politics to make a difference, um, it doesn't do a lot. Then with uh, trying to go about it, uh, the the violent way is like, well, now you delegitimized any stance that you had because now people are going to just label you a terrorist, an extremist, or something like that, and still nothing gets done. What do you do then? But this is not the first time that this question has been brought up because there was this one bishop by the name of Henry M. Turner that said the same thing, that we can't, as black people fight, white supremacy. So the only um, obvious solution to this is a mass exodus, as in a literal all black people leave America and go to Liberia. Or in Abraham Lincoln's case, he wanted black people to go to Central America because it was closer. So it's like, what do you do at that point? Because clearly, you can't. Even debating is a waste of time. Why do people need to debate their humanity to people that don't originally view them as human beings? That's not a bad idea, but America would be awful. I mean, it already is. Personally, I'd like to see what does America look like without the influence of black culture? What does it look like after that? What does America look like without profiting off of the prison system? If there are no more black people to scapegoat, then who's next to blame some bullshit on? Probably another POC group, to be perfectly honest with you. that's the thing with white supremacy, though. Not only is it in America, it's also global. Because if we're talking about a mass exodus and you know what, everyone just moves to Africa, well, the work still isn't done because Africa is still being exploited by European imperialistic powers. So, what do we do? So it doesn't matter where you go while black, there is still some racist imperialistic system that stands against you. It's terrible, but that's where we're at. So, I feel like that's something to think on. Good luck, you know, in your studies. Um, and before I go, um, when I tell Oregonians here, take a look at this book list. These are books that I think should be readily available in your libraries. I would like to point out that none of these books have anything to do with communism, but everything to do with Black history. The books that I read on communism, on the other hand, those are just for me. Uh, I haven't started reading this book yet, but I have it. It's called The State and Revolution, and it's by Lenin. So that's something that it's on my list of things to read, but it's not on my book list that I give to educators or librarians about, hey, you should put this book in your lesson plan, or hey, you should put this book in your libraries. No, this is just for my personal reading. But the topic of conversation was what books can white people read to educate themselves on the black experience in America, to which I then suggest black authors. So, yep, figured that was worth pointing out the difference here is that no one's pushing any communist so-called propaganda on your kids. I'm literally just trying to get your kids to learn about black people without looking at sitcoms or music videos. So, go figure. But anyway, so stay breezy, everybody. Drink water, do all the things. Good night.